Carthethiya is getting a rerun banner, and new players are going to be very conflicted if or not to pull her. And I'm just trying to give my opinion on if you should honestly pull Carthethiya in the big 2026. First off, she's a very solid unit. Lore-wise, she's very strong, very likable, great voice. Love the voice. Her problems, however, come from the fact that she is honestly bait. Because in a sense, she looks very cheap to make. Like, to build Carthethiya, it looks cheap on paper. Because what do you really need? You're going to need Carthethiya, her weapon, Syakona, and a rover. The rover is seen as a cheap teammate because you're gonna get your maxed out sword and a 6 arrow rover. So in a sense, you're pulling for like one teammate and a signature weapon less. So that's around, you could almost say that's like 200 pulls or so that you're saving. But here's the problem, especially as a new player, because for an old player, you may have a Syakona and you just need to finish it all. Then it's completely fine, just grab it. But here's the thing with Carthethiya, she doesn't really have weapons to work with. This is it. This is about the only weapon you're really going to use, because everything else usually scales off HP. And I remember at one point I had an HP scaling weapon that I built through it. So anyways, but she's going to need this weapon because she scales off of HP, which is honestly very weird to think about, alright? Because we do not have a single other character that scales off HP at the moment. Not only that, her echoes you're gonna have to build, it's 44111. I don't know about you guys, but I had hell. I went through hell and back trying to build her echo. And I'm guessing I still don't have good echoes. Nonetheless, you're going to need Syakona, which is not gonna be running anytime soon. That's what I think, at least. We don't know when she's gonna rerun. So with Carthethiya, it may take forever for Syakona to run, and she honestly has no other way to work. Because your only other option is to pull an S3. Your only other option is to pull an S3 because you need someone to inflict the arrow erosion while increasing the stacks as well. Chisa, if you have her, again, as a new player, I doubt it, but maybe restarted recently and you do have Chisa, she works. You may be thinking I'm gonna run Carthethiya, Chisa, and arrow rover. It's a solid plan, but she's really not gonna be as strong as she's supposed to be because she really does rely on Syakona to like get the stacks out there and like keep them there. So at the moment, if you think about it, you're pulling a character and you're pulling a weapon, and the weapon cannot be shared by anybody else. You have to keep the weapon on her. It's a good weapon. It's a good weapon because people can, in fact, again, like get the first part of the weapon's passive. But no one's going to scale off of HP. You're just going to use crit damage or crit rate. So for one, the weapon's going nowhere. The unit is going nowhere. You don't know if she has a team. She's already fallen off meta, sadly. Now there are quick swap variations if you're willing to learn, but for a new player, it's a lot of work. That's like say Xani is queen, pull Zani and learn quick swap. It's not a good idea right now, especially when we have just had some of the best like negative status characters come out. I mean, Imet needs Denya, like sure, but Hiyuki on the other hand is one of the best made negative status characters because she applies it herself. She does not really need a team. She has a very big, she can run with a lot more teams than Carthethiya can. For Carthethiya, you're going to have to pull a Syakona and you have to use a rover. And not only that, think about it from a new player point of view, you're going to need your Havoc rover because you're really like, honestly, you're not gonna have that many DPSs, and the game requires like 4 teams almost, I would say, at least for a new player to clear the end game. Not end state matrix, but at least the tower. And you're literally putting one of your best cards, your best DPSs, and turning it into a support character. So you'll only have one team to play with. Not only that, because she doesn't have another teammate, which is Syakona, she's literally not gonna be as strong as she's supposed to be. Now again, if you're willing to wail, she's still strong. You can get her better, like you can make her better, willing to wail or just use everything. But with the lineup that's coming up in the future, I'm pretty sure you're gonna be satisfied with everything else that comes up anyways, and your asteroids are honestly going to be used better there, at least because with the way that HP inflation has been going, like 20% per like cycle, she's going to fall off meta pretty quickly. And I hate to say this because she was actually my first like full negative status team. Even though I had Zani early on, I didn't have Phoebe. I built Carthethiya's team early on, and I still use it to this day. I still find Carthethiya really fun to play with, but that's because I have the whole team and I can afford to have my rover doing whatever the hell else I want, or my Chisa to do whatever I want. But if I don't have those options, then she'd probably be sitting in the bench because honestly there is not like no free-to-play version of running Carthethiya. Not only that, Chisa is going to be used up with like Fusion Burst Imet or Hiyuki, and I'm pretty sure in the future we're getting even more characters who are going to want her, so keeping her in the Carthethiya team is just not that, it just doesn't make sense anymore, simply because the support lasts way longer than the DPS because they can be used with other teams, while the DPS has to clearly rely on like extreme support power creep to still stay relevant. But then the newest DPS would again be better off with those supports. Nonetheless, at this point of the game, unless you extremely like Carthethiya, you believe she'll get a skin that's very good looking, and you're just willing to wait for Syakona forever and are willing to give up your rover or Chisa for it, there are very few reasons to pull her at the The way her kit was designed was 100 times better than Zani's, to say the least. But then again, she's like 50% worse off than Hiyuki, whose kit was insane. A lot better for a negative status, and I think Hiyuki should be like the benchmark for what a negative status character is, at least for this point in time, and she just does not fit that bill.